This is like story of my life, is that content gets put on the back burner in competition with things that are more important, when really, when it comes from a marketing perspective, this is one of the biggest assets that you have, is your audience that are engaged and are following you on social media. Hi, I'm Sara-Mai, Managing Director here at Madre. Madre is a B2B marketing agency specifically created for the automotive aftermarket. All of the insights that I share in these videos are how our clients have increased their awareness, their revenue, and their brand in order to become some of the leading companies in their category. I hope that you find these insights valuable. I want to ask you something that most brands don't consider before an exhibition. And that is, what is social media actually supposed to do in the lead up to the exhibition? When you strip it back, social media really has two jobs prior to you showing up on exhibition day. And that is, one, we want to warm people up. And two, we want to pull people in. So you have your existing audience that you want to create content in order to kind of get them warmed up, and then you might have another audience that isn't engaged or following with you yet, and you want to create content that is relevant to them to kind of haul them in to your brand. But instead of actually using this kind of warming up and pulling in, most brands use social media like a shipping notification. We'll be at stand A91, and the issue with this is that it's kind of like, okay, cool, and why is that relevant to me? Why do I care that you're going to be at stand A91? That's as useful as a bus timetable, right? Which is that I know where you're going, when you're going, but why do I want to get on? Now, I'm not here to criticize for the sake of it, but the issue is that this is a common trap, especially in the automotive aftermarket, where a lot of the sales messaging or the social media messaging is so salesy and so kind of you focused, as in not the customer focused, as in company focused. And I'm hoping during this video I can take you through exactly how to change that perspective. And when it comes to these kind of shipping notification posts, I actually don't think that this is a issue in terms of, it's not something strategic that we've thought that's a really good idea and is actually going to work. But it's because in the lead up to an exhibition, we are so consumed by the stand, by the merch, by organizing travel, hospitality, everything, that content can really be put on the back burner. And, this is like story of my life, is that content gets put on the back burner in competition with things that are more important, when really, when it comes from a marketing perspective, this is one of the biggest assets that you have, is your audience that are engaged and are following you on social media. So by the time somebody finally posts, after all of that mountain of things that we've had to do, the post kind of looks like logo, stand number, and date. And then you get 3 likes from 3 of the sales guys, right? So it's not that social doesn't work from this perspective, but it's that this is quite lazy social. And I don't believe, again, that this is intentional, but I do think that it's maybe a checklist activity rather than a strategic way to actually bring people to your stand and kind of continue the conversation from your content to that sales conversation that they'll have with your team at the exhibition. So what smart brands in the automotive aftermarket are doing better is they are starting earlier, they are showing up human, and they create reasons for you to care. Meaning that they're not creating me content, but they're creating valuable content about their audience and what their audience actually wants to engage with. Now, the crazy part of this is that we've actually had clients that have had people come and say, I wanted to come to your stand because of all the information and the videos that I'd seen on LinkedIn. We actually had one client that was recognized in Las Vegas, and this was a UK client. They went to the SEMA show in Las Vegas, and people recognized him from his YouTube video. So content beyond just this stagnant, static post, if you create something that's valuable, you actually get people wanting to visit you at the stand because you're actually a personality. You're actually somebody that has helped them in their journey inside their workshop. And this is so cool and has a genuine impact on sales, because when somebody actually recognizes you, they've gone past that kind of relationship in not knowing who you are. Now you've built something that they know, they like, and they trust you, and that allows you to bring that sales conversation to a close a lot quicker. So in this session, I wanted to kind of break down a social media strategy. I wanted to go into what platforms to focus on, what to post and when, formats that actually work, and then how to drive real life footfall from genuine interest via content. So let's start with step one, which is choosing your platforms. So before you actually worry about what to post, I'd probably ask, where does our audience actually hang out? Now, I am hoping you have your audience drilled down first before you just start posting and choosing the platform. So once you know who your ideal customers are, then you want to know where they hang out. So I've made some notes here on how you could break down some of these platforms. So for LinkedIn, that would be commercial leads, decision makers. For Instagram, it would be your younger techs, your influencers. This could be TikTok too. For Facebook, that might be your older garage audience or people that engage in communities and forums. And then for YouTube, these are educational and demo-driven consumers. So you want to pick 1 to 2 channels and do them well. It's all good scattergunning completely your content across all platforms, but the issue that you have here is that most platforms have what's called platform mentality. So for example, LinkedIn's going to want more insight. Facebook's going to be a bit more casual. Instagram's going to want aesthetic. They're going to be really image friendly. And then YouTube wants search value. So you can repurpose the content, but what you should do is adapt the content. For example, a full demo on YouTube could turn into a 60-second reel on Instagram, which then could turn into a quote carousel on LinkedIn. So even though the content is essentially the same, the formats have been adapted so they're more relevant towards the platform. It's essentially the same message, but in a different wrapper. Okay, so now you know where to post. The next thing that you want to do is that rhythm, because social media is all about consistency and showing up. It's kind of the difference between seeing that live engine in a showroom and then just seeing a kind of car that's dead and gathering dust. One's kind of sad and one's really exciting. So what you want to do is show that you are engaged with your audience so that they can engage back. And when it comes to an exhibition, you could do a 4-week ramp up. So for example, in week 1, you would tell people that you're exhibiting and tease what's coming. Then for week 2, you could then tease the offer that you have created with some exclusive or limited offers. On week 3, you could show the team, behind the scenes, prepping, real faces, real human content. This typically outperforms most content. Then on week 4, you want that final push, which could be your bookings, your incentive, your demos, getting people to the stand. Each week essentially has a purpose and then also has each layer, and it's kind of unfolding and ramping up as you go. What we don't want here is last minute panic posts, so create that content calendar before you dive in. The next thing I'd recommend is you want to use different content types. So some examples I've given here are static posts. So this would be clear info, this would be your offers, this would be your timeline. So this is basically a graphic is what I mean by static. A video could be your quick team intros, your demo clips, your unboxings. You could do behind the scenes. So this is kind of real, human, keeps it light, keeps it fun, but also allows people to engage with the team at your stand in a more casual way. Then you want polls and Q&As. So this is going to be asking your audience and starting conversations. You want to use a variety to keep it engaging, so you can say the same message in multiple ways that doesn't feel repetitive and is something that your audience wants to engage with. Because the reality is that not everybody in your audience is going to see your post. So you can't just post once. You should post multiple times in different formats to get different people to engage and share to the wider audience. The next thing you want to do is bring value before the event. So what makes people actually turn up to your stand? And the reality is it's when they've actually gotten value from you before the stand. This is when they're going to book in advance. This is when they're going to use your link to sign up. This can be from helpful and relevant short form content. For example, 3 common mistakes with ADAS calibrations, how to price diagnostics in 2025, a free checklist, what to ask your DPF supplier. So posts like these build trust. They make people more curious and they position you as someone worth speaking to. The next thing that you want to do with your content is actually drive a conversion, because attention is nice, of course, vanity metrics are great, but action is better and sales are better. So what do you actually want people to do? Do you want them to book a demo, enter a prize draw, maybe download something? Whatever the ask is, you want to make it as easy as possible. This means you want to have a very clear call to action. You want to show obvious value, and you want a simple form or a QR code, something that allows them to take action really quickly and easily. An example for this would be scan to claim your free calibration guide, book a demo, win training. And you can use tools like the V8 CRM to track, tag, and automate all of this. Now, finally, once we've kind of gone through and created that weekly plan and added all of this together, we can make a 10-post structure that you can swipe now. So 1 would be the announcement. 2 would be why it matters. Then we'd tease what's coming. We'd add behind the scenes content. We'd then reveal the offer. We would meet the team. We would put what to expect at the show. We would answer any frequently asked questions. Then we'd put a final call to action, as well as what you are doing live at the event. Now, with all of these topics that I've listed there, you want to schedule them. You want to batch them. You want to let them run in the background while you're doing all that planning. So while you're doing stand, while you're doing the accommodation, you want to have set this up so that while everything hectic is going on, your content machine is running in the background without you having to do much to it. You want to leave a bit of room for live updates because raw is very good. But again, when we're in exhibition mode, it can be difficult to keep up with content. So make sure that you use this list and you prepare it before everything gets a bit hectic. So the playbook that I want you to use in order to make your content the most successful it can be is start early, show up where your audience actually hangs out, stay consistent, mix your formats, and remember about platform mentality. Add value before the show and make everything point to something real and to your offer. That's how you're going to turn that scroll into stand traffic. So thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope that you found it valuable. We will be at Automechanika at stand A98. If you want a free marketing audit or you want to discuss anything that I've spoken about in this series or your marketing in general, please feel free to visit us at the stand. Speak to you soon.